Sheridan neighborhood where a shooting and a car crash led to a woman's death. Officials say it appears the woman was shot while inside a building on Kelvin Street. Then, while on their way to the scene, officers found a car crashed into a pole nearby at Sutherland and Chartier Street. Officers found a woman who tonight has just been identified as 26-year-old Taylor Hall inside that car with a gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital where she later died. So far, no arrests have been made.
A car wrapped around a utility pole, a dying woman inside, and a trail of blood that led back to the one place nobody wanted to look. February 13th, 2025, Pittsburgh. 8:30 in the morning, when most people are grabbing their coffee and checking their phones. But at the intersection of Chartiers Avenue and Sutherland Street, first responders are racing toward twisted metal and broken glass. The vehicle is mangled against a utility pole. Steam rises from the crumpled hood. An officer approaches the driver's side door, expecting to find another traffic accident victim. Instead, he discovers Taylor Hall, 26 years old, barely clinging to life with a gunshot wound. Here's where this story gets complicated. Taylor wasn't a car accident victim who happened to get shot. She was a shooting victim who drove herself to this crash site. The blood evidence inside her vehicle tells a story that nobody saw coming. She didn't crash here by accident. No, she fought to get here. What kind of person shoots a mother and thinks they've won? Have you ever wondered what you'd do with your last breath of strength? Someone wanted Taylor Hall dead, but they underestimated her will to survive. By the end of this story, you'll know exactly why her final moments matter. While you're watching this, Taylor's children are growing up without their mother. The least we can do is ensure her story gets heard. If you've ever lost someone you loved, you understand why every view matters. Here's what haunts me. If Taylor had enough strength to drive 2 blocks, why didn't she drive to the hospital instead? What she did next reveals something about her killer that police are still trying to understand. Before we continue, if you find these stories crucial for understanding the complexities of human behavior and the paths to prevention, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and subscribe to Shadow Twist True Crime Stories to join our ongoing pursuit of truth and awareness. Your engagement truly helps these important narratives reach a wider audience. Welcome to Shadow Twist True Crime Stories, where we explore the darkest corners of human nature. If this is your first time coming across our channel, kindly subscribe now to stay informed on our latest stories on real-world crimes.
Woman shot and found in a crashed car in Sheridan. And tonight we've learned that woman has died. Shelley Bortz has the latest on what happened.
Police say the woman was shot in that apartment building on the corner behind me. They say she then got into a vehicle most likely to get help, but only made it 2 blocks before crashing into that pole.
At the 3167 Kelvin Street apartment between Pettyway and Jeffers Street.
The call to 911 came in around 8:30 this morning for reports of a woman possibly shot in this apartment building on Kelvin Street in Sheridan.
Head to the intersection of Chartiers Avenue and Hoover Street with police and EMS. The call is coming in for a black SUV into a telephone pole.
While officers were on their way, another call came in about an SUV that had crashed on Chartiers Avenue, just blocks from the reported shooting. Inside the vehicle, they found a woman who had been shot.
Okay, she is shot, unresponsive.
We copy on police 2 that our shooting is connected to the crash on Chartiers. Fire department's on scene doing CPR.
Taylor Hall wasn't just another statistic. She was someone's everything. 26 years old from Pittsburgh's Sheridan neighborhood. But those facts don't tell you what really mattered. Taylor Hall was a mother of 2 children, whose faces we'll never see in the news. Every morning she woke up with 2 reasons to come home safe. The apartment building on Kelvin Street where she spent her final morning looks like thousands of others in working-class Pittsburgh. Brick walls, narrow hallways, families trying to make it day by day. Taylor lived her life here, built her world here, felt safe here.
Angel Morris says she was working from home this morning when she heard sirens and saw a slew of police cars flying down Chartiers Avenue. When we told her what had happened, she was stunned. She got shot inside this apartment building on the corner down there. Yeah.
No, to hear a woman getting shot, I'm a single mom, so, I'm always on the go. It's not comforting at all, and it doesn't make me feel any better to let my daughter be out in the streets.
She bought a home in this neighborhood 5 years ago because she thought it was quiet and, most importantly, safe. But since she's lived here, she says crime has increased. Her daughter's car was stolen outside their home recently while they were on vacation.
There hasn't been any type of activity like that in quite some time, so for it to start resurfacing is just another, indication that I just need to go.
At this hour, we're told no arrests have been made. The Violent Crimes Unit detectives are investigating.
Michael Worthy, a neighbor who knew the weight of loss, spoke to reporters after Taylor's death. He had recently lost his own daughter to gun violence. His words cut straight to the heart of what's happening in communities like Sheridan. We don't need another person shot for no apparent reason. Think about what Taylor's children lost. The breakfast table that stayed empty that morning. Bedtime stories that would never be read again. How do you explain to a child that mommy isn't coming home? By February 13, 2025, Taylor's homicide became Pittsburgh's fourth in just 43 days. Fourth. In 6 weeks, 4 families destroyed by violence that makes no sense. Someone knew Taylor's routine. Someone knew where to find her that Thursday morning. Someone made a choice that would destroy multiple lives forever.
I remember when my son's dad used to be like, ain't nobody gonna want no mom. Ain't nobody gonna want no mom. Shit! They love me. They love me. If anything, the mom added a little sprinkle on the bitch. Like, ooh.
Every parent watching this knows that Taylor's biggest fear wasn't death. It was leaving her babies behind. If you've ever tucked a child into bed, you know that fear lives in your chest too. Hit that like button because Taylor's story deserves to reach every parent who needs to hear it. What kind of person looks at a mother of 2 and decides she deserves to die? The answer might lie in what happened inside that apartment building, if you can handle the truth. The apartment building on Kelvin Street looks ordinary, but ordinary places hide the darkest secrets. 3100 block of Kelvin Street. Brick building, narrow hallways, the kind of place where neighbors mind their own business and Thursday mornings pass quietly, until they don't. Taylor was inside, feeling safe in familiar surroundings. These were her hallways, her neighbors, her space. Then everything changed in an instant. Here's where this story gets complicated. Taylor is shot inside that building, but she doesn't fall. She doesn't scream for help. She doesn't collapse in the hallway waiting for someone to save her. She runs. Think about this moment. She's been shot. She's bleeding. And her first instinct isn't to hide or call for help. Her first instinct is to get to her car and drive. What she knew in that moment will make you question everything about this case. Why didn't anyone else call for help from inside that building? Why was Taylor alone when this happened? Someone wanted her isolated, vulnerable, alone. Someone planned this. The apartment building holds secrets that nobody's talking about. In a residential building full of people, How does a shooting happen with no witnesses? How does a wounded woman make it to her car without anyone seeing her leave?
Woman shot and found in a crashed car in Sheridan. And tonight we've learned that woman has died. Shelley Bortz has the latest on what happened.
Police say the woman was shot in that apartment building on the corner behind me. They say she then got into a vehicle most likely to get help, but only made it 2 blocks before crashing into that pole.
At the 3167 Kelvin Street apartment between Pettyway and Jeffers Street.
The call to 911 came in around 8:30 this morning for reports of a woman possibly shot in this apartment building on Kelvin Street in Sheridan.
Head to the intersection of Chartiers Avenue and Hoover Street with police and EMS. The call is coming in for a black SUV into a telephone pole.
While officers were on their way, another call came in about an SUV that had crashed on Chartiers Avenue, just blocks from the reported shooting. Inside the vehicle, they found a woman who had been shot.
Okay, she is shot unresponsive.
We copy on police 2 that our shooting is connected to the crash on Chartiers. Fire department's on scene doing CPR.
Angel Morris says she was working from home this morning when she heard sirens and saw a slew of police cars flying down Chartiers Avenue. When we told her what had happened, she was stunned. She got shot inside this apartment building on the corner down there. Yeah.
No, to hear a woman getting shot, I'm a single mom, so, I'm always on the go. It's not comforting at all, and it doesn't make me feel any better to let my daughter be out in the streets.
She bought a home in this neighborhood 5 years ago because she thought it was quiet and, most importantly, safe. But since she's lived here, she says crime has increased. Her daughter's car was stolen outside their home recently while they were on vacation.
There hasn't been any type of activity like that in quite some time, so for it to start resurfacing is just another, indication that I just need to go.
At this hour, we're told no arrests have been made. The Violent Crimes Unit detectives are investigating.
Taylor spent her last conscious moments fighting for her life, while most of us complain about traffic jams. The next time you think you're having a bad day, remember this moment. Share this video, because Taylor's fight deserves to be remembered. If you were shot and had seconds to choose between hiding and running, which would you choose? Because Taylor's choice reveals something about her attacker that police still won't say out loud. 2 blocks, 120 seconds, one woman's final race against time. Picture this: Taylor behind the wheel, blood loss setting in, vision starting to blur. But the engine starts. The car pulls away from Kelvin Street, every parent's nightmare, knowing you might not make it home to your children. She turns left onto Chartiers Avenue, heading towards Sutherland Street. Was she trying to reach the hospital? Escape her shooter? Get to her children? Her strength is fading with every heartbeat, but she keeps driving. But here's what doesn't make sense. She's driving away from the nearest hospital. She's driving away from the police station. If you're shot and desperate for help, you head towards safety, right? Taylor wasn't driving towards safety. She was driving towards something else. The impact comes at Chartiers Avenue and Sutherland Street. Her car slams into a utility pole. Metal twists, glass shatters, steam rises from the wreckage. Taylor is trapped inside, barely breathing but somehow still alive. First responders arrive to find something they'll never forget. This wasn't a traffic accident. This was the final chapter of someone's fight for survival. Firefighters immediately begin CPR at the scene. Paramedics race her to the hospital, fighting to save a life that's slipping away. They tried everything. Everything. But some battles can't be won. The Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office later confirmed what everyone feared. Taylor Hall was pronounced dead from the gunshot wounds she sustained. The woman who fought for 2 blocks couldn't fight anymore. 2 children lost their mother. A community lost another victim to senseless violence. And a killer thought they had gotten away with murder. Taylor used her dying breath to fight for her life, while we use our healthy ones to scroll past stories like hers. If you've ever taken your health for granted, this moment should change that. Subscribe, because stories like Taylor's need to be told. Do you think Taylor knew she was dying when she got behind that wheel? Because what investigators found when they retraced her route suggests she knew something we still don't know. When police follow the blood trail backward, they walk into a maze with no exit. The Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit takes control of the investigation. The apartment building on Kelvin Street gets sealed off. Evidence gets collected. Interviews begin. But here's the problem. The evidence tells a story nobody wants to believe. No witnesses come forward from that residential building. Nobody saw Taylor get shot. Nobody saw her stumble to her car bleeding. Nobody heard gunshots in the middle of a Thursday morning. In a building full of people, somehow nobody saw anything. Then there's the digital disaster. Try searching for Taylor Hall online and watch what happens. You'll find Taylor Hall, the professional hockey player from Canada. Taylor Hall, the marathon runner from West Virginia. GoFundMe pages for completely different people. Obituaries for children. The internet buries the real Taylor Hall under dozens of false leads. Even finding the truth about Taylor becomes impossible when her name gets lost in digital noise. Months pass. No arrest announcements, no suspect identified publicly, no motive confirmed by police. Someone in Pittsburgh knows who did this. Someone is walking free while Taylor's children grow up without their mother. Michael Worthy's pain echoes through the community. He lost his daughter to gun violence too. His words haunt everyone trying to make sense of the senseless. We don't need another person shot for no apparent reason. But reasons don't matter to bullets. Motives don't bring mothers back to their children. Pittsburgh's fourth homicide of 2025 joins the growing list of cases where families wait for justice that might never come. No answers, no justice, no peace. While investigators hit dead ends, Taylor's killer is living their normal life, probably watching videos just like you are right now. If you believe justice matters, prove it by engaging with this story. Comment below because silence is exactly what they're counting on. What if the person who killed Taylor is someone she trusted? Because there's one detail about Taylor's final drive that suggests she wasn't running from a stranger. Sometimes the most important clues hide in plain sight. Remember what I said about Taylor's route not making sense? Let's break down exactly where she drove and why it matters. From the apartment building on Kelvin Street, the nearest hospital is in one direction. The closest police station is in another. But Taylor drove toward neither. She drove toward Chartiers Avenue and Sutherland Street for a specific reason. Most shooting victims freeze. They hide. They call for help. They don't get in cars and drive 2 blocks while bleeding out. Taylor's response suggests something most people don't want to consider: familiarity with danger. What if this wasn't the first time she'd been threatened? What if she knew exactly what was happening when that first shot was fired? What if her decision to run instead of hide came from experience? She knew. Somehow, she knew this was coming. Here's the uncomfortable truth about neighborhoods like Sheridan. People see everything and say nothing. Fear keeps mouths shut and killers free. In buildings full of witnesses, nobody witnesses anything. Why no security cameras mentioned in police reports? Why no neighbors rushing to help when they heard gunshots? Why did Taylor have to save herself when she should have been surrounded by people who cared? The case remains active, but cold. Pittsburgh police still welcome tips from anyone with information. But tips don't come when communities stop trusting that justice will follow. Taylor's children will never get closure while her killer walks free. If you've ever wondered why good people stay silent when bad things happen, you're part of the problem or part of the solution. Like this video if you choose to be part of the solution. How many people in Taylor's life knew she was in danger and did nothing? Because the real tragedy isn't just Taylor's death, it's what her life could have taught us. Taylor Hall's story isn't over because her killer is still writing it. Somewhere tonight, 2 children are going to bed without their mother's voice reading them stories. Somewhere tonight, a killer is going to sleep peacefully, thinking they got away with murder. This is how justice dies. Not with violence, but with silence. Taylor's case joins thousands of unsolved homicides across America. Her family joins thousands of others waiting for answers that might never come. Her killer joins the ranks of those who believe they're untouchable. Every unsolved murder makes the next one easier. When communities stop demanding justice, predators stop fearing consequences. When witnesses stay quiet, victims stay dead, and killers stay free. Michael Worthy's words ring true for every family destroyed by gun violence. We don't need another person shot for no apparent reason. But reasons don't stop bullets. Only action stops bullets. Only justice stops killers. The Pittsburgh Police Violent Crime Unit is still investigating Taylor's homicide. Anonymous tip lines are available. Someone watching this knows something. Someone has a piece of information that could change everything. Taylor's blood is on more hands than just her killers. It's on everyone who saw something and said nothing. Everyone who heard something and looked away. Everyone who could help but chooses silence instead. 2 blocks, 2 minutes, 2 children without a mother. In her final moments, Taylor Hall showed more courage than most people show in a lifetime. She fought for her life when giving up would have been easier. She drove toward something when hiding would have been safer. What will you do with the time she didn't get? Taylor Hall fought for her life for 2 blocks, while her killer fights to stay hidden. If you believe her children deserve answers, subscribe and share this story. Because the only thing worse than being murdered is being forgotten. Don't let Taylor become another silent victim. If Taylor's killer is watching this right now, what do you think they're feeling? Until next time, stay safe. Thank you for watching and see you on our next true crime story.